Hello, good morning. This is the second of my Reaching Out to Cities live stream broadcasts. Hello Brighton. My name is Derwin Banks. I'm a farmer, a bit of a food campaigner. I'm a director of the Brighton and Hove Food Partnership and on the steering committee of the Brighton and Sussex University Food Network. So I've got a real interest in food and farming and food for health. And I'm reaching out to you, all the people in Brighton and Hove today, partially because of reconnection. I think cities and countryside have been so disconnected, and partly as a result of that disconnection is we don't know so much about food as we used to in the past. And as a consequence, I think lots of food items that we actually eat are not even really food at all. And Brighton is quite a brilliant place. I love it anyway. But when you look around the outside of it, you can see many windmills, and even now they're actually quite a long way into the city itself. So Brighton had a great connection for its food with agriculture. And I think this disconnection is causing huge problems today because there seems to be a little bit of a war between farm and city and countryside and so on. And really, both of our interests are exactly the same. We want healthier people. Of course, as a farmer, I think that healthier people means healthier food. I'd like to ask you to do a couple of things today to help in that direction. The first thing, we've had a lot on the news recently, and today as well they're talking about mental health. A lot of us might suffer at one time or other in our lives from mental health issues, or even might have defined mental health problems. And of course your brain is a big lump of fat. It was 60% fat, so when they called you fathead at school, it actually wasn't an insult. There's a lot of fat in there. And the thing that we've done in the last 60 or 70 years, this disconnection, and the main thing we've done is we've changed from getting our fat from grass to getting our fat from rainforests. And what I mean by that is we used to have our fat from an animal source, saturated fat, we used to cook in it, and that is not harmful to you. When you cook in saturated fat, it doesn't cause problems. It doesn't harm the fat. And of course, you're an animal like me, so you have saturated fat in your body, so it's not intrinsically harmful for you. But when you cook in oil, you alter the characteristics of the oil, and it doesn't do the job it's supposed to do in the body. And one of those jobs is to make flexible cell membranes so they talk to each other. So I think you can easily see the link here between more mental health problems, which is about the function of the brain, how the cells communicate, and the link between how we've fooled around with the oils and fats. So in that short period of time, I mean, we've always had various degrees of mental health problems, and of course people used to get locked away and so on, and that doesn't happen anymore. But now we're talking about 25% of people with mental health issues, and that's a huge number of the population, and therefore something dramatic must have happened in the food chain for that to go on, and I think it's the oil and fat. So what I'm asking you to do is think more about how you cook yourselves. So if you're cooking in the kitchen and you're roasting or frying anything, please use yard or dripping, or if you're vegetarian, you can use coconut oil. That's a saturated fat, it's from a plant, that's okay. So always saturated fat for cooking. And if you want some bread and butter, have bread and butter. Don't have bread and any of these modern spreads. They're all industrially produced. And of course, industrially produced things are not good for the countryside or for people, and I think we've shown that. So please buy butter, especially from pasture-fed livestock, if you can. Pasture-fed means finishing off your animals, fattening your animals, or producing milk purely from grass. or hay in the winter, that kind of thing. When you do that, there's much better milk and meat produced, and it has all the vitamins and minerals you need in it. And it also goes some way towards helping to protect the countryside, because when animals are grazing, and farmers who are proper grazers plant lots of other plants in amongst their grass, and that helps to conserve water and also prevent flooding as well. So you can eat your own flood defences if you like. So it's a really important to try and eat things that farmers, especially local farmers, can produce for you. And I hope that will increase the connection between cities and countryside as well. So let's have a little bit more dialogue on that. And hopefully I'm starting this little series of talks to reaching out to cities. And I hope that lots of people will watch and hopefully take some action. The other action I'd like you to take is when you go into a fish and chip shop, ask them how they cook it. And if they cook in oil, say, I'm afraid I can't eat that because it's dangerous for me. And the reason that is more dangerous is because they've discovered in recent years more cancer-causing substances in oil that's been heated up. And they found them in crisps a while ago, just 2 or 3 weeks ago in the paper, information about that. All of these crisps that are cooked in hot oil, just not good for you. If you want to have crisps, make them yourselves, cut up some potatoes and maybe quite thickly and cook them in some lard or dripping at high temperature. And that's healthier for you. And the other thing, just to go back once more to the rainforest and grass things, of course, when you eat oil that comes from rainforests, or when you destroy rainforest to graze cattle, you're hurting the environment. And of course fires rage for years and years in Indonesia and places like that, just to grow more palm oil. And of course you'll find it in so many more products now, whether it's biscuits or cakes, things like that. Have a look at the label. If it's got palm oil on there, don't eat it. Because what you're doing if you're eating that is you're killing an orangutan. You're destroying the lives of the indigenous local population that might live in and around the forest. And of course, the burning is creating problems with the atmosphere. So there we are. A few things for you to think about and a few actions for you to take. And I look forward to maybe hearing some comments and so on, things from you. But anyway, thank you very much. This is Derwin Banks, a heart-centred farmer, reaching out from the countryside into the city in the interests of better communication and a better health. Thank you. Bye.